guys, welcome to Bad Weather Terrible. Today we're going to play the Shins of Destiny featuring our Wyrdeer V from Astral Radiance with the Psyshield Bash attack, doing 40x damage for each energy attached to this Pokemon. It also has a Frontier Road ability allowing you to transfer any amount of energy from your other Pokemon to it as it moves from your bench to the active spot. So we're playing this card with our Galarian Zapdos from Evolving Skies with the Strong Legs Charge ability, allowing you to attach 2 extra fighting energy from your hand to this Pokemon. We also have our Bea to discard the top 5 cards of our deck and attach any amount of energies discarded to your bench fighting Pokemon in any way you like. We even have an extra copy of Gutsy Pickaxe to get even more energies into play, 1 Luminion die to get our Sonia or Bay, 2 Switch cards and 1 Escape Rope tappers activate Wyrdeer's Frontier Road ability. We also have 1 Greninja for the draw support and multiple ways of drawing out our basic Pokemons. We got 3 Sonias, 3 Quick Ball, 4 Capture, 1 Vapor Pass, 1 Feather Ball, and 1 Hisuian Heavy Ball. We're also playing 2 copies of our Diancie with the Princess Curtain ability to help us prevent all effects of our opponent's supporter cards done to our bench basic Pokemon. So we are using this card to help us buy some time for us to attach more energies to our bench Pokemon so that we get to guarantee a 1-hit knockout with our Psyshield Bash later on in the game. So Diancie actually blocks our opponent from playing a boss on our Wyrdeer or any other Pokemon with a lot of energies attached, giving us that extra 1 turn to prepare for the knockout. So the biggest concern for our Wyrdeer V is obviously Path to the Peak. That's why we're playing 2 copies of our Stadium and 1 Pumpkaboo to help us remove it from play. We even have 1 Scuba Net to recycle our Pumpkaboo's ability or Strong Legs Charge, 1 Training Card for Greninja, and 1 Temple of Sinnoh to cancel all special energies, including Fusion, Rapid, Single Strike, Double Turbo, Twin, and Aurora energy. We have also 1 copy of our Dance Bars for the Venus Guard, 1 Amenity for the bench barrier, and 1 Boss Order for the power play. So that's all for the deck list, and if you guys are in need of any specific cards or packs for your own PTCG account, feel free to contact our sponsor from XTrainer90 team for the best price in Pokemon TCG online codes. You can contact them through the links in the description below, or you can click on the top right corner of this video. They even got complete personal decks you could purchase, full art, secret rare gold cards to add to your collection, and packs from any expansion in format. Brilliant Stars, Astral Radiance, Rebel Clash, you name it. And now let's get for gameplay! Okay, let's go for our first game. We're up against Arceus. Arceus with Duraludon VMAX, which is actually a perfect matchup for us just because we're doing a OHKO. So any VMAX V-Star is not bad. We actually need 7 energies on our Wyrdeer to do a V-Star knockout, so it's quite a lot, it's quite a big demand, and we're only drawing 2 prize for a knockout. Wyrdeer doesn't actually last that long, so it doesn't survive a hit, unfortunately. If they play Choice Belt with Trinity Nova for the first strike, they can't actually knock us out. But if they got Inteleon for that extra 2 damage counter, they can actually kill the Wyrdeer quite easily because we got no damage reduction, we got no Cube of Toughness, HP boost. We got nothing but that Dance Bars to deny them that weakness, the double damage from the weakness. So we're not doing much in terms of helping our Wyrdeer, keeping our Wyrdeer alive for more than 1 turn, but we are doing a turbo attack. We can actually do Psyshield Bash as fast as possible and collect early prizes fast, and we can actually keep on charging up a new Wyrdeer with our Bay quite easily late in the game. If we get our Bay on our 5th turn or our 4th turn for our 2nd Wyrdeer, well, it doesn't matter which turn it is, but if we get to use our Bay for our 2nd Wyrdeer, for our 2nd V attacker, we can actually use it. We can actually draw in a lot of energies with that supporter card by that time in the game, because we actually have probably have discarded a lot of non-energies from the deck. Your first or 2nd base is not going to get you a lot of energies. We actually got pretty lucky though for this game because we actually played our first supporter card for 3 energies from the deck by discarding the top 5 cards. So that first bay was actually quite lucky, but for most games, I would say the first card that you play is only going to get you up to 2 energies, I would say. And then your next one is going to get you more and more and more. And by the time you pull out your 3rd Wyrdeer, all you need to do is play 1 Zapdos for the Strong Legs Charge, and then play a Bay, and you can knock out anything off the board. You don't even need like an energy in the game. You can actually just play a Bay and get 4 energies with that 1 supporter, and then Strong Legs Charge for 3 more to kill a V-Star with 1 hit. It's not enough to kill a VMAX though, obviously. So you need to possibly stall with Diancie if you want to kill a VMAX. But if you need your 3rd V card, chances are they're playing V-Stars, right? Because you wouldn't be needing a 3rd V attacker. You wouldn't need to attack a 3rd time if they're playing VMAXs in their deck. Because we have a boss to get the VMAX from the bench. So it's not that difficult. We actually got our Luminion for either the boss or Sonia or even our Bay. Obviously it's meant for Bay, but we should be using it for Sonia if we want to early in the game, because Sonia is quite important. A big start to help us, bench our Greninja, to draw fast. Without Greninja, we can't do anything to help us draw out Pumpkaboo to remove the path to the peak. So that's the power of Pumpkaboo, because we actually get to summon that card with our item supporter card. We can even summon it with our Lumineon. So Lumineon actually only got that one shot though. We don't have water energy in this deck, so we can't actually play Aqua Return to recycle the ability. We're not using Clara, we're not having Eldegoss V in this deck, so we can't actually summon our supporter cards more than once with that ability. But that's okay, we just need that one time, I suppose. So if all else fails, just play our Diancie. Diancie is basically our fail-safe for this deck. It actually helps us survive a few turns, buy us that extra time for for us to draw the right cards out with Greninja, for us to attach more energies with our Bay, Strong Legs Charge and stuff like that. So we're gonna just bench the Diancie right now, get a Bay for extra energies on our next. Oh, we actually got a Marnie for this list. We actually traded Marnie for Dunsparce and an extra Feather Ball. We actually got 2 Feather Balls for this list. This is one of the earlier builds. It actually doesn't work that well just because I keep getting matched up against fighting types. Fighting decks, especially one-price decks, quite annoying. Regirock actually gets to kill Wyrdeer with 1 hit without Dunsparce. So that's why I opted for Dunsparce and Menifee. And Greninja, raiding Greninja is really annoying, especially if they play the Water Box. Raiding Greninja with Crabominable. They actually get to strike your Zapdos as well with raiding Greninja, Moonlight Shuriken, and then Quick Shoot for the knockout. So that actually kills a Zapdos with 1 hit. And that, if you have a lot of energies attached, invested on that one Zapdos, they're gonna knock out your Zapdos on the bench that way. So Menifee and it's also 110 HP, actually killed quite easily by a Urshifu. Rapid Strike Urshifu gets to one-shot both Zapdos on your bench, so even your Diancie. So if you don't have a Menifee, it's gonna completely destroy this deck. So that's why I eventually decided on adding those 2 cards. It's just impossible to, impossible to exclude from any deck. You need to include Menifee and Dunsparce. It's impossible, not to consider them. Okay, right now we are up against Arceus V-Star, and we actually collected 5 prize already, knocking out a VMAX and a V-Star. We're up against a second V-Star right now. They're going to charge up the Duraludon on the bench, so all we need is 7 energies on the next one, but we actually transferred to our new Wyrdeer on the bench by doing a retreat, I think. That means I don't think they can do a knockout this turn. They're only doing a max of turn in 10 with a double turbo. Thanks to the double turbo, they are not doing a knockout. Okay, what are they gonna Starbirth for? Crushing Hammer. If they got 2 Crushing Hammer heads, I think we actually still stand a good chance at winning, I would say. Because all we need is a Scuba Net at this point. We just need to Zapper Kick to collect the knockout. But they didn't do any Crushing Hammers, they didn't do anything. They could knock us out because they got not enough damage even with the Choice Belt. So not playing Cape is a big risk, just because if your opponent plays a turbo attacker like Palkia or Ice Rider, I don't think we stand a good chance at winning. But if they play any VMAX or any other V-Star, I think we stand a good chance, just because we can kill them can do a early attack, and we can attack for quick knockouts, drawing fast prizes. That's the way we want to be winning with this deck. That's the main strategy and the main concept for this list, and we can actually stay in the bench while waiting for enough energies, while waiting to get enough energies into play with our Diancie. So that's the power of that Princess Curtain ability. We want to be making full use of everything from Astral Radiance. We got Gutsy Pickaxe from Astral Radiance, we got Diancie, Wyrdeer V obviously, and Bay for the fighting support, Zapdos for the energy support. I don't think there's any other Astral Radiant card. Switch card. We got Switch card for the Switch effect, just in case you get your Wyrdeer. If you're stuck with it as your first active, you can actually switch to your Zapdos, retreat, and you got enough energies on it to attack. So right now we're up against a Durant control deck. I think this is I think they're playing Tricky Jim's list. So Tricky Jim plays nothing but Durant and Snorlax. I think they have a Regidrago for the draw support as well. I'm not sure what they have actually. One Mew, one Regidrago, and one Snorlax, I think. Or a Raiding Greninja. I don't know. I'm not too sure. But they got like basic draw supports, basic Pokemons. They got no Chinchino, no Bibarel. But they got Hisui and Heavy Ball, which is the biggest update. The strongest update for the new Durant list is obviously Hisui and Heavy Ball. Because you're not drawing any prizes for your mill deck. You're only planning on decking our opponent out. So you need to be either playing Peonia or the Heavy Ball. And since we got that item now, we can actually opt for that card instead of the Supporter. The Supporter is not good just because you can't actually draw cards, you can't do anything else. If you play Peonia, and if you don't have an energy in your hand, you're forced to play Marnie Research instead of that card. So they didn't do a discard this turn, they are doing a draw instead. That means we got one turn to charge up our energies. We got nothing, no supporter cards, nothing in our hand. This is actually the very first build. This is the very first version of my Wyrdeer Zapdos Bay list. So the framework, the bare framework, the foundation, the the skeleton of this deck, I would say is Zapdos, Wyrdeer, and Bay. Those three cards form the main skeleton of this deck, and then slowly I decided to put in Diancie. Well, we already had Diancie to start with, but Diancie, Greninja, and all of those supporter cards, all of those extra item cards like Gutsy Pickaxe, I slowly started to add them into the deck. Greninja, I didn't think of Greninja at first, and also, what else? There are a few cards that were a bit tricky that actually took a long while before I decided to put them in, but I forgot now. I forgot what those cards are. I think a few of the items, if I'm not mistaken. We actually tried Skater Spark. We tried Skater Spark just because we got to retrieve the energy if we retreat with our Wyrdeer, and then reattach them from our hand to our Zapdos. But I believe it's actually better to play Training Court if you're doing Greninja, because if you discard energy with the retreat, for the retreat, you can actually retreat them with your Wyrdeer, and we actually shouldn't be retreating with Wyrdeer. We should be getting our switch cards out. So it may be smarter to play one copy of Birdkeeper since we have a Lumineon in this list. So Birdkeeper could actually help us with Luminous Sign for the switch instead of playing that Marnie, right? But we actually swapped it for a Manaphy, so I don't know if we want to be replacing Manaphy for another switch card. We should be swapping maybe an energy for a switch, but energy-wise is perfect. The energy count is already well, the least I could afford. So the ideal number would be 27 copies, but we actually only have 26 in this list. 27, I actually played a lot of games with that deck, and it worked really well. Bay and Zapdos worked perfectly with 27 copies of energy in your deck, but 26 is actually quite tight. It doesn't actually, it's not that efficient, but it still kind of works as long as if you're smart enough to play your Diancie and your Greninja right. If you can play those cards right, you can, work your way around that energy problem. So you may not be able to strike that early for the first hit knockout, for the first knockout against a VMAX, V-Star, or even a V-Card, but you just need an extra one turn to get even more energies into play to prepare for your next Wyrdeer. Obviously, the first time you switch to your Wyrdeer, don't transfer all of your energy if you have more than 7. If you have more than the necessary amount to do a knockout, obviously keep those extra energies for the next Wyrdeer. Because if they knock out your Zapdos, you actually get to attack a second time with the same Wyrdeer, doing a lot of damage with the same copy. But if they kill your Wyrdeer, you got extra copies of your energy on your Zapdos to keep for your next Wyrdeer. So we need to be thinking about our next attacker, just because Wyrdeer gets knocked out very easily. It has very low HP, but actually for this game we need to be concerned of getting out our switch cards fast enough. So countering that Galar Mine is the main concern against a mill deck. We actually don't have any stadium for this list. We forgot totally about Frontier Road. So Frontier Road is a V ability. That means if they play Path of the Peak, Wyrdeer doesn't get to take all the energies from your other Pokemon. It doesn't get to use its ability. So that's why stadium cards are so important. I added Pumpkaboo and Training Card, while Skater's Park actually stayed quite long for this list because I actually quite like it, but it didn't really work that well. Honestly, I didn't manage to use it that many times for all the games that I played. And we also added one Temple of Sinnoh, so those 3 cards actually took a long while before the update, before I finally put those cards in, just because we got through a lot of matchups without Path to the Peak, without having to face decks that play that stadium. Surprisingly, because Path to the Peak is so popular nowadays. You got Dragapult with Path to the Peak, you got what else? Arceus with Path to the Peak. I'm pretty sure Palkia plays that as well, Palkia with Path to the Peak, but there's no chance we're winning a Palkia. I'm sorry guys. Palkia plays Starmie as well. If they play a water deck, you stand a really low chance. Starmie actually gets to do a one-hit knockout against Wyrdeer because you're attaching so many energies onto your Wyrdeer, and they get to one-shot your Wyrdeer. If they play Suicune though, we may stand a chance because we can actually deny them. We can limit the bench and the amount of damage that they're doing. But they got Choice Belt and possibly Ludicolo to add even more damage, so I don't know if we can win against Suicune or any water decks for that matter. Because they're so fast. Water decks got Melanie, they got Irida now, they got so many supports. Shady Dealings, Inteleon, it's insane. They can't even attack with the Inteleon, Raihan, and then deny you an extra prize on the V-Star or the VMAX because we are trying to kill V-Stars. If they attack with Inteleon, then we are forced to draw 1 prize at a time while they get to prepare the V-Star attacker on the bench to do a knockout. We're actually wasting an entire turn collecting 1 prize when we should be collecting 2. So there's no chance, I'm sorry to say, but this deck doesn't work that well against water decks. But against any other matchups though, it actually does quite, it's quite consistent, I would say. It's not bad. Okay, we got our energy cards. We're just gonna draw the energy instead of the basic and attach to the active, obviously, because they actually did a Crushing Hammer and they conceded because we got 2 prize left. So I think they couldn't do the Galarmine stall or the, what's it called, Yellhorn. I mean, those cards are gonna get rotated though, so Duran is gonna be like no more for the next rotation, but Yellhorn and Galarmine is the main threat that they're pulling, and also Boss. And since we have like so many switch cards in this deck, it doesn't actually work against us. So we got Stadiums, we got Switches, we got Retreat. We can retreat with the Wyrdeer, we can Bay for the energies for the next one. We don't need a lot on the second copy on the next Wyrdeer to do a one-hit knockout. So we just need like 3 energies for Psyshield Bash to kill the Durant. I don't think Durant can... well, we actually stand a good chance against Durant. So we have a high winning rate just because we got 2 Stadiums, 1 Pumpkaboo. For the final version, we actually got like a lot of counters. And also 3 switch cards. The very first build that I created, that I made for this Wyrdeer deck, had actually 5 switch cards and a lot more energies and a lot more basic summons. We have actually like maybe 4 quick balls, 3 VIP and 2 Sonia, something like that. A lot of captures obviously, and a couple of feather balls as well, 1 heavy ball. So a lot in the mix. And for Wyrdeer, for Zapdos, like we got a lot of room just because we didn't realize we need that. We need the stadium counter. We need to remove Path to the Peak. We need to protect our Wyrdeer from weakness. We need to protect our bench. We need to draw cards into our hand. We need the Greninja. We need to protect our, we need to buy ourselves extra time with Diancie. So adding those tiny little supports does matter, and they actually help out a lot to make the deck work against multiple matchups. So to make it more versatile, to make it hit, to make it possible to raise the winning rate against any deck that you are paired against, we actually had to add all of those standard supports like Manaphy, Dance Bars, and Capture. We actually tried 3 captures to start. Didn't work that well. 4 capture is the best. Had to trade for that card. It's actually really expensive now. Capture costs like 1 Astral Radiance pack, which is just ridiculous if you ask me, because it's gonna get rotated. It's just insane. I'm like trying to trade for 2 capture for 1 pack, and nobody wants it. Nobody wants to trade for it. So eventually I decided, you know what? I'm just gonna trade for 1. Whatever. It's crazy ridiculous. So we're up against Urshifu Umbreon. We don't really stand a good chance, but we're gonna give it a go. We're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna take our chances and hope for the best. Umbreon gets to cut through Diancie's ability, obviously. Urshifu gets to one-shot anything with the Gmax 1 blow, but we actually don't have Dance Bars for this list. That means they get to kill Wyrdeer quite easily. So Temple of Sinnoh is going to help us a lot for this game. They actually invested a lot of basic energy on the active, and they passed the turn not evolving, which is a big thing. That means we actually got to knock it out if we get a Wyrdeer. We got a Wyrdeer, but unfortunately we're not able to knock it out. Even with the training court, and well, we got 6 energies though, right? We got 6 energies with the training card, so we should be getting the Wyrdeer. Let's do it. We actually got 3 energies in the game already. So I think we have enough. Because we have a Lumineon, we have 1 attached to Lumineon on the last turn. We actually got to retrieve that 1 energy, and then now we got 6. We can kill the Urshifu even with a stone energy attached. We got 240 damage in. And we got our first knockout. They got no Houndoom in play. Only 1 on the next turn if they can evolve. That means if they don't play a double turbo, they can't attack with Umbreon. Even if they do, they can't knock us out. So Wyrdeer should be good for another strike on the next turn. It should be able to survive our opponent's next turn. Unless if they play, what's it called? Karen's Conviction. So Karen's Conviction with 1 Houndoom and 1 double turbo. I don't think it's enough though, because they're doing 160 base damage. That means double turbo is going to reduce 20, single strike is going to add 20. If they play a Choice Belt and a Karen, evolve both Houndoom and Umbreon, then they can do a knockout, right? That's the only way they are able to do the knockout. Because Karen only gives them 40 extra damage. So that's 200 for Umbreon's max. I forgot what the G-Max attack is called. So max something. Umbreon does 200 damage plus the Choice Belt is enough to kill Wyrdeer with 1 hit. That is the only way, but they need so many pieces though. They need the double turbo in their hand, they need 2 Incense, or like 1 Bear Evolution and 1 Incense on Ultra Ball or something like that. But if they play Ultra Ball, they are gonna have to discard 2 more. And they need a supporter that does not help them draw, which is Karen's Conviction. They need a Bear tool card in their hand as well. So they need 1 special energy, 2 evolutions, 1 tool card, and 1 specific supporter card. Like they need 5 exact pieces. But it can still happen though. If you're lucky enough for any game, you know, you never know, a miracle can happen. And we actually played a Bay for 0 energies. Look at that. We discarded the top 5 cards and got no energies. That's the bad thing about Bay, because you're gambling a lot. We actually got only 26 energies in his deck. That could happen. So don't be sad if that happens. Just hope for the best for your next Bay, because we actually got 4 copies in this list. If we discarded extra copies, we should be fine until we get the next one. As long as if we can, you know, stall with Diancie or do something with our Zapdos. We can still paralyze with Zapper Kick, but we have to discard all energies though. We can still, well, sacrifice something like Dance Bars. You don't have a lot of turns though. Diancie only buys you that one turn because it dies quite easily. Okay, here comes the Urshifu. Our next one is gonna be a bit difficult. We need Diancie. They're gonna evolve into the VMAX, and it's gonna be virtually impossible to kill for our next two prize. But we're gonna try our best. We got that one Temple of Sinnoh to help us deny them the single strike energy. So if they don't have any more basics, it's gonna really suck for them because they need to get the stadium to remove that Temple of Sinnoh so that they get to reuse their single strike energy. Otherwise they can't attack because they need fighting energy cost. And single strike energy is a colorless if you have the stadium card in play. So that one stadium card is going to do a lot against Fusion Strike, Single Strike. Well, Mew VMAX actually needs only 2 colorless though. So Cross Fusion Strike requires 2 colorless to work. Max Miracle, they can't use that attack, but we don't play Miltank. We're not playing cards like that, so Temple of Sinnoh is not doing anything against Mew VMAX, unfortunately. But if you play Inteleon or like Arctozolt, you can actually do Temple of Sinnoh to punish them that way. They actually get to play Stadium on their turn. If you play something like Arctozolt, you're passing the ball to them if they don't get Stadium cards on their turn. And if they do it, you know, too early as well, if they get it too late, if they have to attach energy before playing the Stadium, they actually had to take the recoil from Arctozolt. Okay. Now we need to charge up enough energies on the second Wyrdeer. How are we going to do that? We need our Bay, we need Diancie, we need so many things. I think we're just going to discard the Dunsparce. I don't know right here. We should be keeping it though, because they can actually do beat down for the knockout. So playing Dunsparce actually forces them to discard everything, but they only got 2 prize remaining. They got only 2 prize remaining, that's why they decided to discard the Dunsparce. If they kill the Wyrdeer with the GMX 1 blow, that would be the end of the game already. So they don't need anything but the 1 blow. They just need the boss and the 1 blow, but we're trying to buy that extra 1 turn with the Diancie. Hopefully we get to draw the right cards on the next turn. Maybe a Temple, maybe a Bay. We just need a Bay and a Zapdos at the right time. We actually got 2 extra energies already. We need either the Scoop Up Net and the Bay, or something. We need something, obviously. Are we gonna retreat? Are we gonna attack with Diancie and waste that energy on the active? Or are we gonna attach it to the bench? So I think drawing cards would be a good thing. Let's just draw, and we actually get to damage it by 40 as well, because Diancie is a fairy type. So we are hitting 40 damage with that 1 attack, so it's not too bad. We actually get to reduce the amount of damage we need to do for Wyrdeer. So 40 is the same thing, right? If we attach that energy for Wyrdeer later on, it's still doing 40 damage for Psyshield Bash. Might as well just draw 2 cards with Spike Draw at the same time. So we got Pumpkaboo. They actually did a boss, which is the most delicious thing ever, to watch them play a boss while having a Diancie. And now we got Temple of Sinnoh. So Temple of Sinnoh is going to help us buy that extra 1 turn. Not sure if it's gonna do much though, because all they need is that 1 fighting energy. So if they have are they gonna have it though? Because they actually discarded a lot. We knocked out 2 Urshifus. We knocked out 2 Urshifu with a lot of basic energies attached to them. If they don't play Rods, I don't think they can attach the final basic energy. So that Temple of Sinnoh may actually buy us a few turns if they don't play enough Stadium cards in their deck. We can drag the game out until we get enough energies for a V-Star, for a VMAX knockout, my bad. Let's just do Capture to bench the Diancie. We shouldn't be benching the Diancie though, but we actually did it, because we want to be compressing the deck so that we can draw out something with Greninja. Either a Scoop Up Net or... Well, if we play a Scoop Up Net, we need a Sonia as well. Or we may need a Bay instead. So we have no choice but to attack with Wyrdeer, passing the turn, and play the Stadium card to help us hopefully stay alive for one turn. Now they can use Beatdown, but they are not doing enough damage. Beatdown is only doing 100 base damage. Times 2 is 200, so that's still not enough. All they need is that one fighting energy. If they got that fighting energy from their hand, a basic one, or a Stadium card obviously. So if they play Research, they may get their Tower of Darkness. I don't know if they have that many copies though. They are playing Umbreon V Max. So Dark Signal is a V ability, so they may be having a lot of Stadiums in their deck, I don't know. I think they only played one throughout the game, as of now. Okay, they played a Marnie, which is actually good for us, because we want to be drawing out something. We got a Switch, so all we need is a Bay and a Switch to get a VMAX knockout, because they actually had to... They are forced to retreat right now. If they can't attack, they are forced to retreat. Otherwise, we can knock them out for the final 2 prize. If they retreat to the Houndoom, they can't actually get enough energies on the next turn to attack. So they are forced to retreat either to the Crobat or the Umbreon, in which case, if they do the Crobat, they're gonna get killed on the next turn. So they have no choice but to put Umbreon as the new active. We're basically forcing them to do that, because that's the only way to survive this turn, if they don't get any energies from the deck. I don't think they got it though. If they have nothing in their hand, no energies to attach, they're done. They need a fighting energy as well. Okay, let's not take things too lightly. We need to be killing this Umbreon. We need to be doing a lot of things. We actually got a Scoop Up Net, but that actually is still not enough. We only get to do 280 damage on the Umbreon. So are we gonna scoop up the Diancie, or are we gonna scoop up the Zapdos? Because if they get Urn of Vitality, they can actually do a boss on the next turn. So 1 Urn, 1 boss, and then 2 Houndoom for the energies, plus 1 single star energy from the hand. They can actually do beat down to kill the Diancie. So I'm not sure if we should scoop up the Diancie to deny them the extra prize. It was definitely a big mistake putting Diancie on the bench just now, because now we are giving them the opportunity to do a boss for the final prize. But they may not have enough bosses in their deck though. Let's see how many bosses they have left. So it's always good to analyze how many cards, what cards they have played, what card is in their discard pile. Let's just check. No more Umbreon VMAX, no more Dark Signal. So they played 3 bosses and they got no Umbreon on the bench. That means they can't do Dark Signal. And we're good. We're actually good for that one turn, as long as they don't play a Stadium card or like do a boss. Okay, we did it. We used our Strong Legs Charge and Switch to get 3 extra energies into the game. And that's a total of 280 damage. Still not enough. Oh well. So they did another Marnie. Okay, now we got nothing but energies again, which is quite unlucky. Because I guess it makes sense, because we actually did a Bay to discard a lot of our trainer cards. Just now, all 5 trainer cards, I think. And now we're left with nothing but energies. We actually got a Scoop on that on our last turn. Now we need either a Bay or an Escape Rope. I don't know if Escape Rope is gonna help. I'm pretty sure we have a boss still inside the deck. So if we get a boss on the next turn, we can kill anything on the bench, any V cards for the final 2 prize. And that's actually the end of the game. So fingers crossed we're gonna get our boss. If they get the Stadium card this turn, we're done for. So all they need is a Stadium, Air Balloon, and they're good to go. Houndoom, Single Strike Roar. No Cheryl though. So we got a Switch card, but we got nothing else. We're gonna just conceal cards to get... Oh, we got the boss though. We got our boss. That means now we get to target the Urshifu with our Psyshield Bash, doing 320 damage by attaching from our hand. Another 1 copy, killing a VMAX with the second strike. We actually did 200 plus damage for the first one. I think 160 plus 4 damage counter from the single strike roar. And then we did 320 for the second hit, which is epic, because they didn't play a Cheryl. So if they done a Cheryl, we should be bossing the Umbreon or the Crobat for the final 2 prize. So always be aware of what's happening in the game. Sometimes if you are too tired, if you play the game for too many hours, like hours and hours trying to get a win, you may not, be that sharp by the time you reach your 10th game, because you would probably be tired, so tired and so exhausted that you would actually miss a few things. So I always say, if you get like 5 losses in a row, or like 3 wins in a row, 3 wins in a row is a lot though. If you get 3 wins in a row, quit while you're early, take a break, and then get back into the game, because the game is gonna make you lose at some point in the game. If you get 3 wins in a row, you're definitely gonna lose the next one. So take a quick break, like 10 minutes break, to revive yourself, recollect yourself, so that you get even sharper. You get to sharpen your mind 10 times more than your previous game, so that you actually get to prepare for your next match. And you're forced to update the deck though. You're forced to update the list. If you don't update the list, it's not going to be good enough to for the future matches, because they're going to keep matching you against stronger and stronger player the more wins you get. That's how the game works. If you get 5 losses in a row, take a longer break, take a very long break to reassess and rest up, get healthy, get some food, get some drink, get some energy. And then once you have those supplies, when you have enough of your physical supplies and enough energies to continue playing the game, update your list, check what you need, what can make the deck better, and then switch around with the ratios. Try a different sort of trainer cards, different sort of supporter. Try a different number of energies, different number of Pokemons. Instead of 4 copies, maybe do 3 copies, something like that. Switch it up, switch around, and then eventually you'll fall into the perfect list. That's how you play the game. I've tried so many, learn from a mistake, right? I've made so many mistakes playing this game, losing 5 games in a row and keep on banging my head against the wall until I get like 10 or 20 losses, like 20 losses in a row. I'm not lying, guys. I did that at one point in the game, at one point playing this game. Through the long history of playing PTCGO, I've hit 20 losses in a row non-stop. Like 20 losing one game after the next. I'm screaming my head off like a crazy person. So never do that. Just don't do that. Go ahead and give yourself a break, recollect, reassess, and just rest up until you have enough energies to do something. Because if you lose, it's not the game's fault. It's just either you get really shitty luck, or like you're just not sharp enough. And if you get shitty luck, you can't do anything about it. So just don't feel bad about that, because you can't do anything about that. If you get a really bad hand to start, you can't do anything about that. It's always an indication of your list though. If you get bad hand every single game, like game after game after game, it means your list, there's something wrong with the ratios. You have to update the list. That's what it means. If you keep getting a bad hand, that's the only thing that, that's what the game is trying to tell you. Your list is not working. It's gonna trick you though. This game is gonna trick you by giving you a lot of wins. When you first build a deck, you're gonna get like 5 wins in a row or like 6 wins in a row, and you're gonna be like, oh my god, this is the best deck ever. I'm not gonna win. I'm not gonna lose a single game with this deck. I mean, wow, this deck is working so well. And then the first time you lose a game is gonna be a snowball effect. It's gonna be an avalanche. They're gonna give you lose. You're gonna make you lose over and over and over until you go crazy. Like you lose your shit. You lose your mind because you're like, what? I thought this. Like we won so many games before. How are we not able to recover from this? Like what's happening, right? That's it. This game just fucks you over like that. I mean, if you guys are, deck builders, if you guys build decks frequently, new decks every day, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys are facing the same thing. I'm pretty sure you guys know what I'm talking about and where I'm coming from, because it really comes down to experience. If you have enough experience, you'll know what I'm talking about and you'll know how to get around the system, because there is a system, there is an algorithm with this game, and you'll know how to work your way around it if you're smart enough. I'm not that smart yet, but I'm still trying. I'm still trying to not lose my shit. Playing this ridiculous game is just crazy. Meta decks over and over and over, and they always get the best luck. They get the best hand because they don't need to do anything. They just need to shady. They just need to get. Reggie decks, way too consistent. They got too many cards that makes it work so well. That blend so well together. They got Capture Energy, Aurora Energy, they got, VIP Pass, they got so many things. Reggie Gate as well, they can even use that attack to get them an extra bench. They got Stormy Mountain to get an extra basic Pokemon, so they got so many things, so many cards that blend so well together to make the deck hyper consistent. So there's like virtually zero chance we're winning against a Reggie without a Dunsparce. That's why I eventually added that card. Dunsparce is essential. Like, we got really lucky with this game winning without a Dunsparce, and then later on they actually matched us up against a lot of Reggies. We lost a lot after that, and then eventually I decided, you know what, let's add a Dunsparce, and then no more Reggie matchups. No more Reggie matchups right after I added a Dunsparce. For 10 games in a row, they did not give me any Reggie matchups. That's how stupid this game is. If they know you're gonna win against a certain deck, they're not gonna match you up against that. It's just really ridiculous that way. If they know a Reggie deck stands no chance against your deck, then they are not going to match you up against it. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to get a perfect matchup. Or even an average matchup. You're going to have to fight like crazy, fight for your life just for that one small win. It's ridiculous. By the time you get your 5th or your 6th win, by the time you pass that mark, if you win 5 or 6 wins with one particular deck, they're gonna force you to work like fight for your life. They're gonna force you to fight like crazy to even get that one tiny little win. That's how ridiculously difficult this game is. It's so difficult. You have no idea, guys. So if you can, as a YouTuber, get more than 10 wins with a single deck, then I have very high respect for you, because the first 5 wins is gonna be very easy. There's no what do you call that? No challenge to it. Like, easy, piece of cake, because they're gonna give you perfect matchups. They're gonna give you the ideal hand. They're gonna give you very easy wins. And then after the first 5 matches, that's where the real challenge begins. Do you really have what it takes to update the deck? Do you really have what it takes to make it work so consistently against decks that have already those shady dealings, those cards that work so well, Double Turbo, Starbirth, like all of those power mechanics that actually has enough support, that have so unlimited support, I would say, more and more and more support I mean, Arceus is crazy now. They got Inteleon, they got Dunsparce, they got Sharon. Arceus is madness. Anyways, let's just focus on the game right now. I'm talking too much. Right now we're up against a Rapid Strike deck. They're playing nothing but a Sobble. I'm not sure what they're playing just yet. So we actually got a Gutsy Pickaxe for this deck as well. Gutsy Pickaxe, quite fun to play. Because even though you don't get to attach that one energy, you at least get to draw an extra card into your hand. If it's a trainer card, you get to draw it, which is quite a big plus. If it's a Pokemon, it's not a big plus, obviously, but it's still something. If it's a Diancie, make sure you bench it because it actually is going to help you a lot. But always think carefully before you bench anything. I would do that first because we may need to bench our Dunsparce for the Witness Guard. We may need Manaphy. We may need to use our Zapdos for the Strong Legs charge ability. So limiting our bench is always the wisest, the smartest decision because you don't actually have that many spots for your Zapdos. You need to be using your Zapdos. You need enough spots for your Zapdos because we only have that one Scoop Up Net and we actually have only 3 copies of Zapdos as well. So we need to be very wise in choosing which Pokemons to bench. So we may need to do Pumpkaboo to remove that Stadium card. We may need to do Manaphy to protect our bench. We may need our Dunsparce at the same time. So if we need too many bench supports, this deck is not good anymore. Obviously, if we're up against like Rapid Strike Urshifu, we need our Dunsparce and Manaphy. If they play Path to the Peak with the Urshifu as well, we need to play our Pumpkin Pit ability to remove that Stadium card. So we need 3 extra bench, and that means we only got 1 spot left for Zapdos. And if we have an active Diancie and only 1 Wyrdeer on the bench, that's not going to be that good. If we have Greninja as well in play, I don't think we have any spot for Wyrdeer. So we need to be playing our Strong Legs charge from our hand, and then Bay every single turn until we have enough energies on the Zapdos, and then bench our Wyrdeer at the last minute on for that final remaining, that last bench spot, saving it for the Wyrdeer once the Diancie gets knocked out, obviously, and then retreating with our Zapdos to transfer all the energies from Zapdos and other Pokemons as well onto your Wyrdeer to do a one-hit knockout against the Urshifu VMAX. I don't think it's impossible to win against Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX because we actually have enough support. We have our Manaphy, we have our Dunsparce against Gale Thrust. I think it's actually gonna work against Rapid Strike. We weren't lucky enough to match up against Rapid Strike Urshifu after adding the Dunsparce Manaphy. I really wanted it to work without those supports though. I tried so hard to make it work without Dunsparce and Manaphy, but it just completely crumbles. If you're up against fighting decks, you can't win. If you're up against bench snipe decks like Inteleon, Rebel Clash, or what other bench snipes are there? Rapid Strike Urshifu. Rapid Strike Urshifu is horrible because it's fighting as well. So 1 Gale Thrust, 1 energy is all it takes for them to kill Wyrdeer with 1 hit, which is just ridiculous, isn't it? And tricky thing about Dunsparce is that it actually guards your opponent's colorless Pokemon as well. So we are playing our Zapdos for the fighting weakness. So if our opponent is playing Miltank or any other colorless Pokemon that has fighting weakness, we actually are protecting them from the fighting weakness as well. We are protecting them from Zapdos' Zapper Kick. So Zapper Kick actually gets to do a one-hit knockout against Miltank because it's doing 140. If they don't play Cape of Toughness, if they do the Cape, we can actually do Diancie first, Spike Draw, and then Zapper Kick for the knockout. So that's the power of Zapdos. But if we do our Dunsparce too early, if we bench it mindlessly, like I think I did one of these games, if we do the Dunsparce, then we are actually protecting the Miltank from the weakness as well. That means we can't do a one-hit knockout with our Zapper Kick. So Zapdos is not doing is not one-shotting a Miltank with the attack. Okay, we're gonna get a Bay or maybe a boss. Are we gonna do a boss? I don't think we have enough energy, so let's just do a Bay. We're gonna save the boss for later. We're gonna Bay right now, get as many energies as we can. It's a bit of a waste though, because we just need that extra 1 energy. Oh, we don't have a switch though. We can't retreat. That means we're gonna have to, because if we retreat, we're gonna have to remove, discard that energy. So we only have 160 damage after the retreat. Let's just do the Bay. Spike draw for an extra 2 cards into our hand. We get to do concealed cards on the next turn. So we actually did it though. We retreated and we attack fast after the Bay because we already have 320 damage in and they can't actually do a 1-hit knockout on the next turn. Dragapult is not able to kill Wyrdeer with 1 hit, even with the Inteleon support and the Choice Belt. So they're only doing 180 with the Choice Belt Inteleon. If they get enough Scoop Up Net with the Zigzagoon though, they may be able to kill the Wyrdeer eventually. But I don't think it's that easy this turn. So let's just discard Pumpkaboo and Luminion because we don't need them anymore. We don't actually have a Scoop Up Net for this list. So if we have it, we may actually choose to discard the Diancie because scooping up the Pumpkaboo could actually help us remove that stadium a second time for our next Wyrdeer. So we got quite lucky for this game. We actually top decked a boss order. And now at just the perfect time, we get to kill the Dragapult. So definitely a very fun game because we actually get to knock out the Dragapult before it even attacks. And then we get to secure our next knockout because they can't do a 1-hit knockout. They can't one-shot our Wyrdeer. That means if they attack passing the turn with the second Dragapult, we can collect our next knockout. And that's the win right there. If they don't do anything, we're just gonna collect 1 prize at a time to win the game. So there's no chance they can win that just because we got our VMAX kill early. We got to kill that VMAX extra early. They should have attacked though while they can. They should have definitely attacked while they can. I don't know what they're waiting for. Maybe they, maybe they were afraid of... Maybe they wanted to attack with a second Dragapult with like maybe a big charm attached or something like that. I don't know. It's still not enough though because we can attach from the hand. Like by that time we would have enough energies from our hand to kill the second Dragapult. I mean, you should be attacking while you, like, as fast as possible, right? If they do the Max Phantom for the knockout, we got our second Wyrdeer. We need to be thinking about our next one, obviously. But we should be good still because we got Greninja to draw out the right cards. We got our Sonia in our hand just now, so we should be... we could actually do our Strong Legs charge and bench another Wyrdeer with that Sonia. For more energies in our hand, we should be drawing with our concealed cards. And then planning, aiming for that second Bay to rake in the next batch of energies. Our next batch is going to be a bit more easy because by then we would have a lot of energies left inside the deck. I'm not too sure though because we actually attached 8 and maybe discarded a few, so we may have only 10 plus energies left in the deck. But I'm pretty sure we played a lot of supporter cards already, a lot of our training cards. So our second Bay could actually draw us at least 3 energies maybe. And then Zapdos is going to get us 2 more. So we need maybe an extra turn with another Diancie to charge up our next Wyrdeer for another VMAX knockout. But it's not impossible though. It's still, we're still, given a high chance of winning just because we did everything so early. We attached our energy early, we got our first prize, and all we need is to kill the second VMAX, right? Because we already got our 4th prize with the first VMAX kill. Overanalyzing again, sorry guys, but right now we're up against Miltank with Mienshao. So they got Mienshao for the confusion and Miltank for wall. Mienshao actually requires you to shuffle it back inside the deck and then put something forth as the wall, as the new active. So they are doing a hit and run strategy with Rapid Strike Mienshao, confusing the active, and then recycling that energy as well, the Rapid Strike energy. They can't do double turbo for Mienshao though, so they need Octillery for Mienshao, but they couldn't bench it that early. They actually have it inside the deck, but they are not benching it because they didn't get their basic summon. So good thing about this deck is that you have a lot of ways to summon your basic Pokemon. You got 4 captures, you got like 3 Sonias, 3 quick balls, a VIP pass, a heavy ball, a feather ball, a lot of different balls here, but we actually got like a lot of summons. Like the regular summons, we got 3 quick ball, 3 Sonia, and 4 captures. That's already 10 copies, plus that 1 VIP pass, that's already 11. So 11 copies of basic summons actually means our ratio is very high. Can our opponent fit in enough of those cards in their deck? If they have like 4 basic summons, if they have 4 quick balls and maybe 3 level balls, then that's only 7. We actually have 11 plus our feather ball, heavy ball, and that one we counted the VIP, my bad. So heavy ball and feather ball, that's a lot more. And we actually got a lot of basics in this deck as well. I think 11 basics. Or 12. Is it 11 or 12? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm pretty sure it's 12. Yep, it's actually 12. Because we got that 1 Menifee, oh, we got 13 because we got Pumpkaboo and Luminion. Okay, here comes Miltank, and Dunsparce is actually destroying this deck just because we got only 70 damage with our Zephyr Kick. I thought we were doing a knockout this turn. I thought we actually get to kill the Miltank, but it's not dead. Look at that. And they're gonna scoop it up on the next turn. They got scoop up nets, they got switch. They got a lot of ways to keep on attacking with the Mienshao, so to speak. But they can actually wall with the second Miltank if they play a scoop right now. They're discarding that tool card though. They may play a Sharon, you never know. Sharon actually helps them recycle that Cape of Toughness. Okay, they're taking quite a long time. No Remoraid on the bench. I guess they're probably playing 2 copies of the Mienshao and Octillery line. I don't know. Maybe 3 Mienshao and Mienfu, 2 Remoraid Octillery, 4 Miltanks. Quite a consistent deck, right? Quite easy. But you need your double turbo to attack with Miltank, you need your Rapid Strike energy with Octillery, Incense, Level Ball. Level Ball doesn't work for Octillery, it also doesn't work for Miltank. So maybe VIP Pass Capture doesn't work for Mienshao though. So it's a bit tricky because you need double energies, you need 2 different twin energies. So maybe Quick Ball, VIP Pass, and Sonia? I don't know. Brawly doesn't actually work because Miltank is not a Rapid Strike. So it is a bit tricky, definitely. There's gonna be Egg Incubator. Egg Incubator is gonna be the new basic summon. It's gonna replace your Quick Ball. And it's horrible though. It actually is quite ridiculous because you're forced to flip a coin just to bench a basic for an item card. If you get a Tails, you get to recycle it on the next turn though. You actually get to put it at the bottom of your deck and somehow draw it back into your hand. I have no idea how. Maybe with an Expedition Uniform and a Pyukumuku. So if you do a Level Ball, play the Incubator, Level Ball to summon your Pyukumuku, get into your hand, play the Incubator and the Expedition Uniform. You can actually play it a second time with your Pyukumuku, which is interesting. So we're probably going to see that mechanic for the next rotation, because rotation means there's no quick ball. Can you believe that? No quick ball, no Rotom Phone, no Metal Saucer, no Zacian V. Like the bear supports, no evolution incense. That's insane though. We used to have Evo Soda, so X and Y, if you guys remember, X and Y, Black and White, we don't actually have incense until Sword and Shield. We don't have incense until Sword and Shield. There's no way you can draw your evolution card into your hand. That's why Rare Candy Evolution used to be so difficult. Stage 2 Evolution used to be so difficult because we got no incense. We got only your level ball. Well, there's no stage 2 with 90 HP, right? So you got only your, except for Jump Bluff, maybe. You got only your Heavy Ball, Ultra Ball, Great Ball, and Pokeball to get your stage 2 evolution. And maybe a Pokekid or something like that. We actually have a Pokekid equivalent for every set, for every generation, I think. So Black and White has a... I forgot the name, but it's a character. It's a a Pokemon trainer's name with the same effect as Pokekid. And then Sun and Moon has one, X and Y has one, so every set has one. It's quite basic though, only search for one Pokemon for a supporter, quite bad. I don't think any deck in the standard format plays that unless, you know, if you maybe need an evolution and nothing else, like maybe a Gardevoir deck, it's better just to play Pokemon Breeder's Nurturing for Gardevoir. There's actually a Pokemon Breeder for standard, I think. Pokemon Breeder helps you draw 2 cards and heal 20 from your active, if I'm not mistaken. So we did a Paralysis because they got no cards in our hand. We're hoping for them to get nothing on the next turn, but they actually got a Research. Oh, they did a Marnie, my bad. So they got a Marnie and they scooped it up, which is very depressing because we wasted 3 energies on our Zapdos. It's the worst feeling ever. They got Crushing Hammers, so we shouldn't be wasting our energy cards. So I suppose that's why they're not getting their supports. They're not getting their basic Pokemons. They're not getting their Marnie Research just because they're playing so many Crushing Hammers and Fan of Wave. They actually got maybe 4 Hammers and 3 Fan of Wave, I don't know. So we're gonna attach to our second Zapdos that 1 basic energy. Path to the Peak is gonna slow us down by a lot because we can't draw cards with Greninja. So we may need to wait for a knockout before we're able to play Pumpkaboo for the ability. But I don't think we need much now. We just need to play Bay for the energies and we're good. So we got enough energies on all the Zapdoses, but they may just play more Hammers. They got quite a lot of Tails though. So be prepared for heads because Hammers is kind of annoying like that. If you get like, if our opponent gets a lot of Tails with the first few ones, they're probably gonna get heads now. Always a strong comeback, right? Really annoying. This game is just... Well, it's actually making it more challenging and interesting though. If you get a win all the time, it's not fun anymore. If a game is not challenging, it's not that fun. So we got our second Bay. We're just gonna... We should be discarding it when we have energies to draw, but we actually didn't do that, which is quite weird. Let's just do a Bay and see what happens. We should be doing it onto the active one though. The one with as high HP as possible. Because... I don't know. So we're transferring energy to the Wyrdeer, which isn't that smart because they got Crushing Hammers. We should be keeping them on the Zapdos. We should be retreating first because all we need is 120 to kill the active, right? Mienfoo, and we got that 1 final prize. They're probably gonna scoop up the Remoraid. They're probably gonna force us to kill a Miltank for the final prize, and then keep on looping the Miltank, and then slowly damage us, knock us out with Route maybe. So I think our best bet here is we should definitely have done the retreat first and bay the energy onto both Zapdos because they got Fan of Waves, they got a lot of hammers. We should be preparing for those cards. So our best bet here is to play Scoop Up Net for the final knockout. So scooping up the Dunsparce is going to remove that weakness guard. That means it's going to guarantee us a one-shot with our Zapper Kick. Zapper Kick gets to kill a Miltank with one hit. If they play a Cape of Toughness on the active, I don't think they have that many capes anymore, because they actually scooped up a few and discarded. They are forced to discard the tool card. So hopefully they don't have that many capes, and if they have it on the active, we can play an escape rope to force them to play the second Miltank. If they put the Remoraid, obviously it's gonna get killed. If they evolve the Remoraid, we're just gonna have to kill it with Wyrdeer. So escape rope is gonna be our token to victory right here, and obviously that scoop up net. We need to scoop up Dunsparce. End of story. That is gonna be our saving grace. We should be investing all of our energies onto a single Zapdos, but they could actually do a knockout though. If they do a boss, they can do a one-hit knockout with a Route. So Route does 110 damage, which is exactly enough to kill any of the Zapdoses with a twin energy. They are playing Pumpkaboo for the draw support. Pretty interesting. We actually had that for our Typhlosion deck. If you guys want to check it out, Hisuian Typhlosion with... What did we play again? I think we played Mawile. We played Mawile, Chatot for the retreat block, and we also play Sigilif to collect the knockout. So burn, confuse, tiny damage, and then O Cemetery, Horror Energy, Rocky Helmet for extra damage counter. I don't think we have a Rocky Helmet, my bad. We have Choice Belt for Mawile and Chatot to do extra damage, and then Sigilif, and then the special conditions to add even more damage counters, Horror Energy and O Cemetery plus Sigilif, counter attack, and then Psychic Assault at last moment to collect the knockout against the V-Star, VMAX. So pretty interesting deck. If you guys want to check it out, it's in our channel. Just search for it in the filter. Okay, we got no Scoop Up Net, but we got it inside the deck. We actually searched for it, but couldn't draw it out just yet. We're just gonna wait until we get it. I don't think they have any more Crushing Hammers. They actually got one left, but if they discard the one from the Zapdos, I think we're still good, because we just need one of the Zapdoses. We just need one of the we got it now, but we didn't have an energy. Okay, we're gonna have to we're forced to wait another turn to get the energy. So always be aware that your opponent can play a Marnie, so don't waste all of your hand. Don't play that many cards from your hand at the late stage in the game when you have very few cards left in your deck. Make sure you keep your hand as high volume as you can, because if they play a Marnie, they can't deck you out. They can possibly deck you out with a Marnie. Always be careful with that. And they actually saved an energy. They are helping us save that extra energy at the bottom, helping us do a attachment to the Zapdos, because we don't need it on the Wyrdeer. So they are helping us with that fan. Okay, here comes Pawpack. A very interesting list though. They got Team Yell's Cheer to shuffle back their Silene and Miltanks, and possibly even the Mienshao. Well, Mienshao is not getting killed though, unless if they evolve before doing the hit. Mienfu maybe, and Octillery. And then they got Silene to recycle their item cards, maybe the tool as well. Their Crushing Hammer, Fan of Waves. So we actually got nothing but captures inside the deck. And now we could actually do the knockout. We're just gonna play our Escape Rope. They're probably gonna put the Miltank. If they do the Pumpkaboo, we're just gonna have to knock it out with Wyrdeer. And there we go, we got our final kill with our Zapper Kick, doing 140 damage for the knockout. No Dunsparce in play, you're dead. We won against Miltank Mienshao. Pretty cool list, pretty interesting. Fun battle. And we won against a one prize, look at that. Now we're up against Firebird, playing a Water Grass deck. I think it's a Torterra deck, but Torterra with Inteleon and Eldegoss. So they got Gardenia for the new Torterra list. Gardenia for Torterra. Eldegoss for the energies. They don't have... There we go, Gardenia. They got tracking shoes as well. They don't have Cherim. They got Gardenia instead, which is very interesting. We're gonna see how well that list works. Sobble for the draws for the trainer search. Any trainer cards you want. Crazy. We got our VIP pass just because they actually gave us a lot of mulligans. So we finally get to play training card. VIP pass in one of the games. Because we're only playing one copy though. Pretty weird list because we only have one copy of the VIP. I would prefer to add more copies just because it helps you get your Diancie, your Greninja, your Wyrdeer. You actually need it to set up your bench for a successful game. But if you have only one quick ball or a Sonia, you can get your system running because you probably have a capture as well. So all you need is to capture, attach the capture onto your Wyrdeer, get a Diancie, Feather Ball or something for Zapdos, attach the energy. So we need either the Diancie or the Greninja. If we get the Greninja, we can draw more cards, possibly get our Diancie on the next turn. If we get the Diancie, we can buy an extra turn. So I think it's better to get Greninja first, and then slowly draw out the Diancie, and eventually get your Zapdos for the strongest charge. So that's the progression, right? That's what we want to aim for. So we don't actually need that VIP, but it would be great if we can play more copies. So if you can somehow find the perfect ratio and fit in the right cards to make it work, let me know. Let me know if you can have 3 VIPs in this list. I would love 3 VIP. I would love it. I would love to summon my basic fast. Because look at that. We actually have 160 damage in. We could do 200 damage even. We played our Bay on our first turn. Thanks to that mulligan. That crazy mulligan though. Because we got so many basics and they got probably a lot of stage 2s. They're playing Inteleon and Torterra. So double stage 2 card. Plus, you know, Beedrill and Polion. So a lot of Pokemons that couldn't be benched. A lot of non-basic Pokemons. So that means we actually win in terms of basic. We got so many basic. The basic ratio, we got 100% basic, right? They got so many stage 2s and stage 1s. That's the reason we got the mulligan. So it's heaven if you're playing against a stage 2 deck because you're gonna get the best hand to start. But don't be too sure though. Don't be too sure that you're gonna win because one price decks are quite killer. They're doing so much damage for Torterra. They can actually kill for 2 price with that 1 price card. So always try to kill them fast if you're up against a 1 price, because the trick is to draw your prizes every single turn and try to deny them a single prize. Try to deny them from attacking by targeting the cards that, you know, the supports that they need, by doing a boss on their Flaffy or bossing their Cherim, something like that they need to get their system going. So we did another Bay for more energies, preparing for our next Wyrdeer to do the knockout, because we actually need 5 energies to kill the Torterra. Torterra is actually quite high, the HP, 190 HP is a lot. Bear that in mind, we actually need quite a lot to kill the Torterra. But we already have enough though for the next knockout. For the second copy, if they kill this one, I don't think they can kill our Wyrdeer this turn. I mean, it would be quite impossible because they don't have enough bench. They need a Beedrill, an Empoleon, and another Empoleon to knock out Wyrdeer this turn. Or maybe a Beedrill, an Empoleon, and a Choice Bell. That would actually be enough. 230. Avery and Collapse Stadium. That's the best card right now. That's the best card this season, just because we have Regigigas, Torterra. I mean, those decks is going to be completely crushed with that Avery card That's why Tricky Jim plays like 3 copies of Avery in his Blissey deck list. So Miltank is good now, Avery is good now, but Blissey I don't really think so, because 300 damage is quite low, 300 HP is quite low, and I'm pretty sure any deck can hit at least 300 to kill a V-Star. Like Reggie, what's it called again? Reggie Drago does only 270, but I think it actually has like Inteleon now, or something to add more damage to do a one-hit knockout against a Blissey. Smeargle does a one-hit knockout against Blissey. We got a lot of one prize El Creamy, a lot of one prize that does a lot of damage now. Because I think one-hit KO is the best deck in season, especially if you're up against V-Stars and heal decks. You should be aiming for one-hit knockouts every time, but you know, it's not fun to keep playing one-hit knockout decks. So switch it up a little and try some other decks. That way you get to exercise your brain, you get to challenge yourself and experiment with new strategies, test out new game plans, and be smarter with your gameplay. Be smarter with, you know, be smarter with your strategy. I don't know what else to say. Okay, they got Eldegoss in play, they got no more Turtwig. They need that rare candy badly. Well, they just need 20 damage to kill this one. But we got our next knockout secured, even if they do a rare candy. They got the Cynthia a bit too late. They need 3 more knockouts to win the game. We just need 2. If they're doing 1 right now, we actually collect our first one on the next turn. They still need 2 more knockouts, you know, passing the turn. That means we actually get to we are still ahead of them, so to speak, because we are collecting our 5th prize, our second last prize right now, and then all we need is that one last turn to win the game. If they can somehow kill our second Wyrdeer with 1 hit, I don't think it's that difficult for us to lose still. So we need to be playing our Pumpkaboo just because they have Path. If, you know, if we don't have the Pumpkaboo, we couldn't actually win that game. So Pumpkaboo is gonna help us a lot. They got no Turtwig though, no Turtwig on the bench. So there's no way they can win that. There's no way they can attack on the next turn. So I suppose the reason they are staying, the reason they keep playing the game instead of conceding, because I would probably have conceded by then, is probably because of the path. Because if they have that path, they can deny us from doing a one-hit knockout with Wyrdeer, because Wyrdeer's ability doesn't work. But thanks to Pumpkaboo, we get to remove that stadium and reuse our ability for the one-hit knockout. So I think we're just gonna end the voiceover right here, and if you guys to focus on the game, today we are featuring a Wyrdeer V and Galarian Zapdos combo. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Have a great day, and bye for now, lovely people! Enjoy your life!